Hello, this is Sean. Today, doing a video on Boothman.
Hi, my name is Sean, and today I'm going to be bringing you another video here from Boothmasters, and we're going to be going over the entire wiring guide of the 7-cam array. The array behind me is white. We also sell them in black, so I'm just using the white one today because it's actually going to go to a customer. But with that being said, I'm going to walk you through from step 1 to the end of how this system is actually wired, so that you are able to do it yourself. If you bought the shell and you're lost, this video is meant to help you. So basically I'm going to go from what I do from the beginning to the end. You can change this up however way you want. It's pretty straightforward. You will see that it is just the same thing repeated several times. So some of this video is going to be kind of repetitive, and we'll kind of speed through those parts, but you're going to get the full encompassing thing that you need to know, just what you need to know to get started. So the first thing you need is your camera. So I'm going to go grab the camera. You're also going to need 3 cords to go to that camera. The cords are as follows: a USB to camera cord, which is probably going to be shown like somewhere around here. You're also going to need a sync cord that's 2.5 to 3.5 millimeter ends. The 2.5 is going to go into your camera, and the 3.5 end is going to go into another spot, which I will show you later on in the video. And then also you're going to need your DC coupler power packs from Esper. It's just what supplies power to your camera. This is how we're choosing to do it. However, if you choose to buy the just AC/DC adapters yourself, that's totally okay. Just know that we're not going to show you how that works in this video. But there are older videos that you can probably go back and see how we used to wire the array with that pack. It's nothing different than what I'm going to show you with the power pack supplied by Esper. The only difference is you're not going to have an Esper box. You're just going to have a cord that goes directly from the camera to your power strip. So with that said, you're going to need additional power supply. So you're going to need another power strip if you decide to go with the AC/DC route. So we're going to use the power supply pack instead, because it's going to make the whole thing look cleaner. And like I said, I'm going to go grab the camera, the first camera, and the cords that you need, and I'll show you what those are. Alright, so I just went to grab the cords. And the camera itself. I forgot one thing. I gotta grab the camera screw, so we're going to grab that real quick. We're just going to lay the whole pile of them inside the room, but you're going to need 7 camera screws, which we'll link to in the description as well. These camera screws are just 1/4 and they're 3 inches long. So I just went to grab the camera and the 3 cords I was talking about. So to go from the line, or down the line, you get your DC coupler cord from Esper, which plugs in to one of the ends of this cord. This cord right here is your power pack cord. This is really just replacing that bulky back, and it's then also replacing the need to plug into a power strip, because this end also plugs into the Esper box. So that's that cord. Then you have your sync cord right here. This sync cord has 2 different ends. One's 2.5 right here, and the other one is 3.5 right here. The 3.5 end will end up going into your Esper trigger box. The 2.5 end is going to go into your camera. Then we have one final cord, and that's the camera to USB cord, which you guys are probably very familiar with. This end goes into the camera, and then this end will end up going into the USB hub. So I'm going to go ahead and plug them into the camera real quick. So the camera, if you don't already know, has this side flap on the left side. When you open it, there are 3 different ports. We're going to use the top 2. So the USB camera cord goes into the middle port, like so. And then the 2.5 end, the smaller one, of the sync port goes into the port on the top, just like that. And then in the bottom of your camera, where your power supply is, we are going to put this end with this end right here, this female end acceptor of the power supply into the bottom of the camera. And then just allow the cord to kind of pop out that left side right there, making sure not to let the battery pack come out. So there it is. So then you're just going to close that door. After you close the door, you now have your camera with 3 ports, just like I said. This last port is just going to plug into this part right here, just like that. And then the other end is going to plug into the power box, which I will show you guys later in depth of how to get these cords secured tighter into the power box. It's just by using these spin dials right here. It'll make more sense when we go inside the actual array. I have another camera that's actually recording the inside, so it's going to be pretty easy for you guys to see. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the camera into the first spot. There are 2 holes in where each camera should be. There are 2 smaller holes, and I'm going to cut them out right now to the other camera. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. So yeah, here's the 2 other holes. We're going to use this camera screw right here to screw the camera into the first spot. I'm going to be screwing it into the back hole. We prefer the back one because that hole allows the lens to sit flush inside the booth, so you never have to worry about cutting the lens. You don't have to worry about the lens or taking it off after every event. So that's a nice thing. Right now what I'm doing is I'm just taking off the zip ties of these cords. They come packed in these like little tiny baggies. So and then they also have these zip ties, these tiny things. All right. So now this cord is just going to run down right here. I don't know if it's going to see, but I went ahead and ran this cord down as well. Then the last cord. The last cord is going to be the camera USB cord that I'm going to run down. You don't have to run them down in any particular order. That's just how I did it this time. So, yeah. Okay. And now you should have your 3 cords. Again, I'll just go over them one more time. So this is the USB end of the camera USB. That's going to be plugging into a USB hub, which will eventually sit here. And you have your SIM cord right here. This end is 3.5mm end. This end is going to be plugged into your S-Bird trigger box, which will end up sitting right here. And then you're going to have this end sticking out. This end is going to be plugged into the S-Bird power box, which is going to be below the S-Bird trigger box. I'll show you that orientation when we get further into the video, like I said. So now I'm going to go ahead and do what I did with this camera 7 times. So we're probably going to speed this part up, and yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna go grab those power strip and USB hubs, and then that'll be the next step. So I'll be right back. Alright, so now we're going to be mounting those power strip and USB hubs. The link to these will be inside of the description of the video, like I keep saying. So just any of these products will be listed in the description. We also have an assembly guide where you will be able to see exactly picture by picture what each thing is, and then you'll be able to click a link next to that picture. That'll bring you to the exact thing that we buy on Amazon or other supplier, depending on where we got our things from. So anyways, here's the power strip we use. The most important thing is that it has at least 6 ports. This particular one has 8. When I say ports, I'm talking about the outlet ports. And then it has to have at least 2 USB ports. These 2 USBs will end up supplying power to your Esper trigger boxes. So it's very important that you have at least the 2 USB ports as well. So the way I mount this in here, I usually mount it on the back 2 mounting points in the middle here. And then I use 2 very large zip ties. These are the 24.5-inch zip ties that or 22.5-inch zip ties that I was talking about. It can be any length that's longer than probably like 18 inches is probably about the amount. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to go around the entire power strip to keep it secure in the back of the unit. I also got white zip ties to kind of match the color with the booth. This was a black booth, I'd be using black zip ties. It's just to kind of keep everything looking kind of clean. So I'm going to go ahead and mount that now. So, here we go. So as you noticed, I ran the cord through this bigger hole right here, which you'll probably see better over here on this camera. But anyways, so this hole is what I'm using to stick out the remaining bulk of the power strip. Basically, this cord is going to be plugging into your extension cord. And this cord you're also going to end up feeding down through the leg. There's another hole right here, which allows you to feed any cord that you would want down the leg. You really only end up needing to ever feed 2 cords down the leg. So for but for now, we're only talking about the power strip cord. So this cord is going to be what you're going to be able to feed down the leg. So I just went ahead and zip tied the power strip to the back of the unit with the 2 zip tie slots, like I told you. I'm just going to cut off the excess real quick. Alright, so after I cut those off, I'm going to now mount the USB hub. So this particular USB hub is an Atolla, it's called. The only reason why we got it is because it has the 7 USB ports right here, as you can see. But it also allows us to plug in a charger for like a hotspot. like a mini hotspot if you wanted to. If you're doing wired sharing, it's going to be a completely different thing. You're going to need a sharing station with a wired connection, but we'll show you that. But anyways, so this allows you to plug in a hotspot, which gives your setup internet. So this hub also has 7 ports. It also allows you to turn off and on whatever port you want. We don't usually use this feature, but it is cool to have. So this cord right here, the cord coming off the USB hub, this is what you would end up plugging into your computer. So that's why we're going to mount it right here, because there's actually a hole in the door right here that allows you to feed through the cords that you would need to go to your computer. So basically your computer power cord, your USB from the USB hub, as well as Ethernet cord if you were doing sharing stands. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and mount this, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've now mounted the USB hub. I've also mounted the power strip. The next thing we're going to move on to is going to be the power supply for the actual power boxes themselves. So I'm going to go grab that real quick, and then I'll be right back. Alright, so now we're going to supply those power packs, or well, the power supply unit to the unit, or to the actual, right? This is what's going to supply the power to the Esper power boxes. So it's pretty big, not going to lie, but it hides nicely in the back. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Depending on the left or the right side, you always want this end facing towards the power strip itself. So that's what I'm going to do when I mount it over here. I'm also going to be mounting it on the mount spot on the back wall here that's closest to the power strip. So two things that are going to be close to the power strip are going to be the end that receives the cord, and then also the mounting point you want to use is the point that's closest to the power strip. So I'm going to go ahead and mount those two things real quick on the left and the right side, and you'll be able to watch me as I do that. So you're probably going to get a better view from the other camera. So you're probably going to see my back most of the time on this one. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and mount this right now. So, just so you know, right now, I'm just going to bevel out this cord right here. Then I'm going to put a zip tie on both ends, and I'm going to kind of tuck it in front, or well, behind this USB hub right here. So it's going to end up hiding back here like this. It's going to be kind of almost invisible, but it's probably the best place to put it, so that's where I'm going to put it. And so now I'm going to just continue to wrap this up. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and mount to this other side right here. It's going to be the same thing. This end right here is going to be closest to the power strip, so it's going to face that way. And then I'm also going to use the closest mounting point to the power strip as well on the back wall to mount this side as well. So you're probably going to see another speed up right about now. So now I have finished wiring the two power packs for the power supply packs that are the Esper box looking things. I'll show you them later. But now we are going to go ahead and wire the USB cords so that they are plugged into the USB hub. So you're going to watch that. So basically, all you're doing is you are going to be taking the USB on the far left and then just kind of put it behind all of the other cords. Feed it behind this separator right here. And then you're going to put it into the first port. After you do that, there's going to be some excess. Just kind of put that off to the side real quick. And then move on to your other bundle. And you are now going to just keep doing the same thing over and over. You're going to feed these back behind the separator. There are two of them. And then you're going to plug it into the hub in order. It doesn't really matter what, to know which camera is in what plug, but this will give you an idea of it. So camera 1's in the port 1, then 2, then 3, and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now for all of these cameras. The only difference between the left, as you see it, and the right is that one way I'm feeding it this way, the other way I'm going to feed it this way towards the USB hub. When I feed it from the right side over, I'm going to feed it behind everything, and then I'm going to go down and down under the power strip cord, and then into the USB hub. It just looks better in the end, and it'll allow you to kind of reach behind if you need to, so they're not all just kind of standing up like that. You'll see all of this in about, I'd say a minute to 2 minutes. Okay, so now you have plugged in all of your USBs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zip tie the bundles together so that they are kind of concise and they look pretty, basically. So I'm going to end up putting them above the power pack right here. They're just going to rest up there. So you're going to see that in a second here. But in the meantime, I'll be right back. Alright, so now I'm going to be kind of like tightening some of these cords up. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zip tie my cords together. I'm just going to make little bundles. I just finished plugging in all of the USB hub cords. Now I'm going to bundle them together. Pretty much anytime I'm done plugging in corded, I bundle it together and I make sure that there's enough slack up top and enough slack where the cord's actually going into the system. Just so that it's not being pulled too tightly, but at the same time, you do want to kind of organize it so that the cords don't look like they're loose in any way. It just makes the whole appearance of the booth look a little nicer. So I'm going to go ahead and bundle these cords up. I'm going to do a few more sometimes. So there we go. Now I'm going to just do the same thing on this side. Alright, so I just bundled those cords together. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the Esper power box and Esper trigger boxes in. So there's going to be one Esper power box as well as one Esper trigger box on the left side, and the same thing on the right side. So I'm going to go grab those real quick, and then I will be right back. Alright, so I grabbed the Esper power box and Esper trigger box. I've connected them together. They're pretty easy to connect. One side is kind of hollow, and the other side has like more of like a rivet. There's two different boxes. There's the Esper trigger box, which looks like this. It also has this button that says mode. That's the other indicator that it's the trigger box. The other thing is it doesn't have this 48 VDC port. So basically what I do is I put these two boxes together, and I keep the Esper box on top. So the Esper box sits on top of the power box, just like this. The reason why I do this is because you're going to need to sometimes get to the Esper cords, like the trigger cords, more than you do need to get to the power cords. The power cords kind of secure themselves pretty nicely. There's never been a time where I've had to worry about the power cords. So when I wire this, I like to keep the Esper boxes on top and the power boxes on the bottom. So you stack them like this, and then you put them in the unit where the mode button is facing the hole on the left side of the booth, and the ports are facing the power strip. So whichever one's easier for you to remember. Basically, the ports just need to face the power strip. That's it. So we're going to secure the two boxes onto the two middle mounting spots. So they're going to go onto the two middle mounting spots, and we're going to use those 24.5 inch, 22.5 inch zip ties. So we're going to do that right now. We're going to do the same thing on both sides. When I do this, I'm going to plug in the 48 VDC port with the power we zip tied to the booth before. So I'm going to plug that in, and then and then that's the only two things I'm going to do. So you're probably going to see better over on this angle over here. Note that you want the end that has the rivets, or well, the indent in the middle of the box to be facing up. So whatever orientation you need to put these boxes in to get that part facing up, that's what you got to do, so that the zip tie can lay right here. That way it's more secure hold onto the box. So you don't want it to be on this side where it looks kind of like plus. So yeah, you want to be able to get the zip tie nestled right there between the crevice. so now we're going to start plugging in the power supply to the Esper power box. So in the very beginning, you saw me plug this cord right here with the 2 spin dials. You saw me plug that in to the cord that's coming from the bottom of the camera. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that again. But then I'm also going to secure it to the Esper power box, which again is on the bottom. And the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to plug it into one of the spots. I'm going to plug it in towards the back, and I'm then going to spin the spinner until it is tight onto the basically it's just a thread. I'm just tightening it onto the thread, and then it just prevents the cord from getting pulled from the box. So that's all I did. And after you do that, you're just going to do that 7 times. I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side, and then I'm going to do it on this side. So first, I'm going to start off by unzip tying the cords together. And then I'm going to plug the camera in, but then I'm also going to give myself enough slack to plug it into the power box itself. So I'm going to plug it into port 1 of the power box. And then I spin the spin. I want to make sure I have enough slack so that I can eventually zip tie this bundle to the mounting spot on the back of the booth that's to the left of the power supply pack that's going to the power box. I'm going to end up zip tying it all to there, to that one spot. And that way I can keep all the cords in a bundle together and to make them look nice. Alright, so now we are going to get those sync cords plugged in as well as bundled up and tied together. So I'm actually going to plug them in first. It's kind of important how we plug these in. So on the first side, left trigger box, we're going to plug in the cords, but we're going to avoid port 6. So we're going to plug the 4 trigger cables on my left side. You might have 4 on the left, 3 on the right, or vice versa. In this case, I have 4 on the left. It just depends on how you wire it. So, some people take the middle cords to the left side or the right side, depending on which you prefer. So I'm just going to go ahead and plug these last remaining cords in. So I'm going to do that now. It doesn't really matter what order you do. I usually plug the shortest cord into port 1, and then going by length, I plug the cords in from port 1 all the way up to port 4. So okay, so I plugged the cords in on this side. Now I'm going to go over to the other side and start plugging in the cords over here. In this case, on this side, I'm going to avoid port 1, and I'm going to go straight to port 2. Again, I will tell you why in a little bit here. That's going to be a little bit further into the video, but for now, I am going to plug in port 2 right now, then port 3, and then I'm going to plug into port 4. Okay, so now after we've plugged all the cords in, I'm going to now bundle them up. So I'm going to allow for some slack. Now what I'm doing, after you bundle up the sync cords, I'm going to use one zip tie to zip tie the sync cords to the USB cords, and it kind of keeps them together nicely. So after you're done with that, you have finished. So one side at least. So I just finished this one side. The right side's done. This is kind of the look you get when you are finished wiring that side. There's like a few more wires that I'm going to throw in here in a second, but it's not. They're basically. I'll explain them in a little bit here. But I'm going to move on to the next side now. I'm going to do the same exact thing with the sync cords, where I bundle them up and bundle them to the USB cords. So give me 1 second here. So, we've just finished with the trigger boxes, the power boxes, and the USB hub, and all the bundles are together. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a few extra cords, which I haven't gotten to yet, and I will explain what each of them are here in a second. So enjoy the next video segment. I'll be right back. So I just went over and I grabbed a few cords. Basically, there are 3 additional cords that we got to worry about. There's 2 different cords. There's 3 of the same, I should say. They're all 3.5 to 3.5 millimeter aux cords. These guys, and basically one goes from one Esper box to the other, and that links the 2 together. The other one plugs into port 6, which is your flash, and we'll get to that one. And then the other one will plug into port, the input port of the box on my, on the right side right here. So it's going to plug into the input port, and then it will also plug into the trigger release system. These 2 cords are USB to USB-C cords. They actually supply power to the trigger boxes. We're just going to run these cords real quick. All these cords are going to take a few seconds. I'm going to do these 2 cords first because they're the easiest. So here we go. So there's a USB-C port in the Esper trigger box that you're going to plug this USB-C into. It has 5 VDC and then USB right above that. There we go. Right behind everything. Then I'm going to plug it into the top port of the power strip. There you go. So there's one side. Now I'm going to plug the other side in. And that's going to run along the bottom. And it's going to plug into the USB port, in the power strip that's located towards the bottom of it. So there we go. There we go. Okay, so we just plugged the USB-C cords in. Now we're going to run this 3.5 aux cord from the input port of the box on the left side to port 1 of the box on the right side. So I'm just going to run it behind all the cords again. So here we go. Perfect. So again, it's going into the input port over here on this Esper box, and then I'm going to run it behind all the other cords. And then whatever excess, I'm just going to bundle it up. Alright, so there's that one. The next cord we're going to run is another 3.5 to 3.5 millimeter aux cord. This one is going to go into port 6 of the Esper box on the left side. You can put this into port 6 of the Esper box on the right side, but it's just personal preference. I prefer it on the left just because that's what I'm used to, so we're going to do that over here. Slack. Basically, you need enough slack to go from here up into this hole, then up through the hole in the middle of the booth, and up to a flash. So probably about that much cord is good enough, which is about like, I don't know, a foot and a half of cord. This one I just zip tie back together because just in case you don't. I just zip tie it because you don't want to zip tie it only because you could need more eventually, or more cord, so it's easier with a twist tie than a zip tie to get more cord from it. So we're gonna keep this little bundle of cord in front. So just gonna bundle it up. So at the beginning of every event, what you're going to do at the beginning of every event is run it through this hole, then over and through the hole up the top of the booth, and then you're just going to pull the remaining excess up and out. And then at the end of the event, you unplug it from the flash, which is going to be on that pole in the center here, or constantly, depending on what you prefer. This is mainly used for flashes. So just go ahead and tuck it there. And then the final cord that we're going to be using and plugging in is the final 3.5 to 3.5. You can kind of keep it bundled together. Basically, you don't need that much excess. That's about it. Basically, this end right here is going to be plugging into the trigger receiver, which I'll go grab here in a second. And then the other end is plugging into the input port of the Esper box on the right side over here. So we're going to go ahead and plug that into the input port. And then the Esper receiver is going to plug in there. I'm going to go grab that real quick along with a few other things. I'm going to grab the tablet mount, the computer, and the computer charger. So I'll be right back. Alright, so there's just a few last things that I want to go over with you. Nothing too crazy. So when you have to wire this yourself, we recommend the Pixel Pro trigger system. This system allows you to trigger all 7 cameras all at one time, and the flash will fire, and the photos will be taken and it'll allow you to do like the jump, and then it'll freeze them in the air effect without any sort of blur. So this part is the receiver. You would plug this part right into the 3.5 millimeter aux cord that's going from the input port. You plug that in right there, and then you would power both the receiver and the triggers on. This trigger is what you would be using the entire event. So I'm going to turn that on real quick just to show you what you do. You just do a half click and then a full click. You always want to make sure that the ready light is shown while you do your countdown. Then after you finish your countdown, click, and that'll be it. So those are those two things. And then I already showed you the aux cord going from port 6 ran up to the flash on the left side. The other thing that you're going to run up to the flash is the flash power cord that comes with the flash. It looks like this. You're just going to plug it into any remaining port on the power strip, and then you're going to run it up the center hole right here. So it's going to run up here, and then after you run it up there, you're going to run it up into the middle desk hider, cord hider, and then when you run it up there, you're going to run up enough so that you can get it all the way up the white flash pole, which I'll go grab real quick. This is the pole. So this pole right here, you're going to run the cord. You have to have enough slack to run it up this, and then plug into the flash, which the plug-in spot is right about here. So you're going to do that when you run this cord, and then after you plug in the power, you're going to plug in the sync, and they all just run up into that middle desk cord hider right there, and that is everything. So feel free to keep watching our future videos, because those videos will help you get the array up and fully running. This one is just kind of showing you, okay, you got your shell. Now, what do I do with the shell? Now, if you follow our assembly guide and you buy every product on that assembly guide and then follow this video to the T, you will get the final product looking like this. Now, with that said, you are able to deviate and get whatever equipment that you would need that you feel comfortable with, but basically everything that is in the assembly guide is what we are saying works. So this works, and we're just look for the future videos to get it fully running in the future. So thank you for watching, and this has been Sean from Booth Masters. I will see you next time.